Peace, love, and light. What's the word, people? What's the word now? This particular spin around the block of layman's terms is for all of those people that hear the term epigenetics. And it's like, epige what? Why don't you just make it simple? What does that mean? I don't care. Let me go on and swipe up. I don't care. Let me just not pay attention. I understand. You know, sometimes we get carried away with those $10 words that could be very much condensed into a $2 word, at least. But that is why I'm here to break it down for y'all. Epigenetics, in the very, 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 very simplest terms, means that all of us human beings, no matter what background, what race, what any type of label that anyone chooses or doesn't choose to put on each other, any person in this world is the reflection of what has happened to generations of people prior to them. I will use myself as an example on this one. Um, I will say this is cut from my accountability hour on forgiveness. So if you haven't checked that out yet, check it out. I'm my most vulnerable and most naked. You know, somebody has to be first, and I choose to be. Because in order for the next person to be free enough to say something, somebody has to be free enough to say it first. That'd be me. But personal example of epigenetics for me, aka stuff that past generations of people have experienced that's passed down to me, is honestly stereotypical. But it's so stereotypical because it's true. I am African American, which means, and I'm also, and as far back as I know, my family is from Virginia, so it's pretty much a guarantee that I am descendant from enslaved individuals. During that enslavement, things happened, grapings, um, inappropriate touchings, involuntary sexual acts, um, a lot of bottling for the sake of survival, a lot of choosing to be numb because it's easier to cope that way. A lot of those things translate and continue to trickle down. That's why don't ask, don't tell is so prevalent. That's why a lot of people choose not to talk. It's because it's so common. And with that being said, let's break those commonalities because they make no sense. You know, for me personally, as far as what that means in my personal life, I bottled my emotions for the sake of safety, for sure. Y'all already know from previous accountability hours and multiple other videos that I used to be a habitual liar. I used to steal all the time, manipulator, all of these things as coping mechanisms. You know what I mean? To cover up what I came to find out were a bunch of different acronyms that I wear with pride now: ADHD, CPTSD, social anxiety, bipolar 1, and a few others. One of my favorites is the auditory synesthesia, which I will break down in a future video for sure. But that's what it looks like. Truthfully, all of us come from a lot of trauma. So, if say your grandmother was going through depression and didn't know how to heal, it's most likely that you will. Most likely your one of your parents, whoever parent's mother, that came from that person most likely experienced a version of that. Like if you don't heal that pain reverberates and continues to carry on, which is why the term generational curse breaker is frankly overused. Let's be real about this thing. Obviously we want to be those things. We want to be generational curse breakers, but at the same time, we don't want to overuse the term if we don't know what it means. Being a generational curse breaker is being the first to say something, to do something, to choose a different path for the sake of future generations, for the sake of us becoming more of a united front as human beings. So that is epigenetics, ladies, gents, and thems. I hope that this was helpful. Until the next time, peace, love, and light.